Welcome to those near and far. Welcome to Mage the Ascension as luck would have it. Our game is set in 2019 in Montreal, Canada. Let's meet our mages this evening.
I'm Jayce Maxwell, and I'll be playing Max Toulon.
I'm Lloyd Colman, otherwise known as Geek 5150, and I'm Auron Pritchard.
I'm Christina Poe, and I'll be playing Raena Tremblay.
And John is played by Alan. He is dealing with
Tech
audio
issues.
tech issues, yes. Recap.
I'm Alan Ludden, and I will be playing John Staunton.
Awesome. The Cabal went to Magic Court with Sarah over the welfare of the Puka as related to Reginald Hollis Bonnie Flambeau, a stage magician who used the Puka in his act. The court determined that the Puka also had the human form, so they were determined to be sentient creatures that deserve care. Hollis was sentenced to Gilgal, a method where the avatar has received a death sentence. 2 weeks have passed since this court hearing. What have you guys been doing? I'll start with Max.
Well, Max did the mega studying and also working on his life magic. Basically, just trying to get as medically sound as possible at the expense of his life.
One thing I didn't mention is that the library still has a bed in it. So, the library has a bed in it. So, you can nap or jump on it, whatever the fuck you want to do. Auron, what are you doing during those 2 weeks?
He's been basically just working on his room, making sure that everything is how it's supposed to be, still building it out. But a lot of his time he's been basically meditating to himself between either his room or one of the I'm blanking on the word.
Nodes?
Yeah, the nodes. Thank you.
I
win! Yay!
Basically contemplating what possibly could happen at this appointment for the memory parsing and everything. And that's basically all he's really been doing.
Excellent. How about Raena? What is she doing for 2 weeks?
Raena has been reading a lot of books, focusing a lot on, I believe it was life?
Yes. You had been given a grimoire that was your grandmother's, and which was hidden in the wall. And there is a ton of herbalism and how it affects the body. And Max actually confirmed, technically how these how these things line up, basically how the herbs actually impact the body. And spirit stuff. So Grandma was showing you all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. I did a good thing and hung out with my grandma for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that IRL sometime.
Nice. Oh, and Raena also took martial arts?
Yes, I did.
From John.
Because I carry around a stick, and I need to be able to use it. Effectively. And hand to hand. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So John kept himself really busy. He worked a few overnight shifts at his job as a physician's assistant in an emergency/urgent care. He taught martial arts. He studied for both correspondence and spirit. Spent some time with his pet sleeper. I think that's most of it.
Right on. And Katarina, aka Portia, will be joining us in a half an hour or so. So she will update us on what she is doing for those 2 weeks. On top of that, it is November 28th, 2019. It is morning at the Chantry. And I am...
Well, because this is Canada and not the United States, they're not on Thanksgiving break.
Right. During
that
this time.
That was last month.
That was last month. And
technically, it's in 3 days from today. In real life.
In real life.
But
and we'll have maple with all the trimmings.
That means you said it's a Monday, so Max is in classes for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't get to the Chantry until like 1.
Sorry. I'm here. Professor Edge comes down to the lobby and does her morning ritual of getting coffee and getting breakfast. She is still in her pajamas, wearing her bunny slippers. And it is on you guys. Max is in class. I think it is technically a Thursday. Hold on, let me double check. The 28th is in fact a Thursday. So you are probably in class.
I am also in class.
Basically, I assume that everybody is in class except...
I think Auron wouldn't be because his only class is Professor Edge.
Ah. And, well, that's a good point. And she comes out, sits down in the cafe. It is probably 8 in the morning, and the light is coming through your windows and waking you up.
I'll get up and have a cup of coffee.
Take a point of task.
Thank you.
And Auron is welcome to come down and also partake in the coffee. You can put as much peppermint in it as you want.
Yeah, Auron's probably doing his usual routine, taking a shower, everything, getting suited up, and then go downstairs to get food.
Professor Edge kind of like, waves you down and offers the seat across from her to you.
He'll probably walk over and grab a bagel real quick and then go over and sit down.
How are you feeling, Auron?
Getting by. Just been...
You have a big day coming up.
Yeah. I've basically been spending the last 2 weeks just contemplating what's going to go on with this. And kind of hoping that something worse doesn't come out of it.
Indeed. She kind of sits silent for a second. Mind mages kind of scare me a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of... Well, that's why I kind of wanted you along in case we have another incident at that chantry. At least you would probably know what to do.
Hopefully, the man in question has been rehabilitated.
Well, I mean,
or expelled from the chantry for his behavior.
The thing that worries me slightly is the assistant that your friend will be using. Like, I don't know this person, so I don't know if they'll like. I trust since you're friends with her that she won't do like he did, but I don't know this other person that she's bringing in, so.
And it's that person that she's bringing in that I am worried about.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will help you and only you. Not overstep his bounds.
Yeah.
I suspect mind mages don't respect boundaries very well.
Well, there's got to be some ethical ones. Just, law of averages.
Mm-hmm. That's the hope. I know it is somewhat prejudice of me to just assume a mind mage is going to overstep bounds. You're right.
But if you've had that experience, it's very valid.
I can
Oh, it's
tell
valid if you
when
haven't
I'm
had
being
any.
worked on. Sorry, what was that, John?
I said it's valid even if you haven't had the experience. Anything is possible to humans.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll probably have lunch. Raena and Max will be done with their class, and we can hop over to Horizon again for your appointment.
Auron will probably wait to eat until they get to Horizon.
Right on. Because he does love that curry.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually looking at merits in one of the books when it came to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can't avoid the
But
effects, but
before we leave for Horizon, I want to put in an Amazon order for about
Okay.
100 venipuncture sets.
100 what?
Venipuncture sets. You know when they take your blood out of your elbow?
Oh, sure.
The, the needle and the vial that sucks it in?
Mm-hmm.
I'm ordering 100 of those.
That is kind of what I heard was wiener punching sex. That is...
When drawing blood, I'm ordering 100 sets of that.
Okay.
You know, the needle, the little holder, the vial.
For diabetics.
No, these are the bigger
Phlebotomist.
ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
phlebotomy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a verbena who works in the medical field.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Max knows phlebotoming. Not very good at phletopping.
Well, as a physician, you should.
Boo.
And you'll never have to do it. That's what nurses are for. But still,
In seriousness, though, he does because he knows that they're going in the ship again. He brings some Dramamine with him and hands it out to anyone who wants it.
I'll take one.
Auron will raise his hand and no thanks.
You sure about that? You know how the trip is.
Yeah, and so far you're the only one who's been puking.
Are you okay? Sure. The professor essentially... Oh my god. I'm being messaged, sorry. Professor Edge kind of like stands up, says, I'm gonna pack and get dressed and all of those things, and then I will meet you on the launch pad.
Auron will just nod.
She puts a hand on Auron's shoulder and says, we're here for you.
Let's just hope this doesn't get any worse than it is.
It's
Is
going
it so
to, at some
terrible?
point, seem worse than it is. Just don't fall to pieces and you'll be fine.
Maybe not mention pieces when you're talking about the current subject matter.
Auron kind of just side eyes both
Yeah.
of them.
All right. Is there anything you guys do before going to the launch pad?
Nope. Just making sure I have the meds in my system.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Dramamine and a shot of the pink stuff.
I'm probably basically putting together my usual carry stuff, my laptop, stuff like that. But he's also going to put a book on quantum physics in his bag.
Okay. Raena will have Cosmo for comfort. So she basically makes a beeline for the launch pad. Oh my gosh. So Raena and Cosmo are hanging out in the launch pad.
I'll head down there too.
Seeing that there is finally someone, Cosmo kind of like rushes up and sniffs and kind of steps back. Sniff, sniff.
I'll do all the right things. Go down to my knee, put my hand below the level of his head.
And he kind of like scoots his head under the hand, suspicious like.
Pet him if he doesn't seem to object.
He does not.
I'm not going to pet him on the top of the head.
Okay.
I'm not going for the top of his head because dogs usually don't like that. So from the back of the skull down the.
Oh, he's a happy puppy. Once the petting is complete, he will go skitter back to Raena, who is standing nearby, eating her pickle, in her morning pickle.
And the gallon of pickle juice.
And the jar full of pickle juice.
Hey, it's good to stay hydrated.
Exactly.
Medically speaking, I don't think brine is going to keep you hydrated.
The electrolytes that are in pickles will help.
When I was a medic, a nurse, and a volunteer first aid provider in Florida, that's what we gave was pickle brine. Sometimes a little bit diluted, but not often.
It is a southern thing.
Just don't try where I'm from southern thing because it's nasty. Kool-Aid pickles. Never again.
Yeah. Never again.
My uncle lives in Alabama, and he drops peanuts into his Pepsi.
That is not a habit I have heard of. Anywho, the professor comes in. She's got a knapsack over her shoulder. She says, "Where's Auron?"
Right as she says that, he pops up behind her. I'm right here.
Glad to see you. And she enters the ship. Everybody gets in their seat. Yep. And she gears the place up and the ship takes off. And everybody roll stamina except for the people who took the Dramamine.
Woohoo! Pre-planning.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty 8. Because, oh, the G's.
Crit.
Oh. You are sealed. How about Raena? And Cosmo, for that matter.
Okay. What am I rolling?
You are rolling stamina at a difficulty 8.
Okay. And that was one more because I didn't take the Dramamine, right?
Right.
Okay, good. Because I'm not very stamina.
What are you doing to that poor bag?
She is a musical baby. Raena, however, walks into a bag of which may be a little to her when she turns green.
I told you that pickle juice was going to have a bad side effect on you. Now you're turning green.
I'm not objecting to this. You are what you eat, after all.
After all. 2
She's now
hours
Pickle
later.
Raena.
Pickle Raena. The
Remind me to teach you about some conjugins sometime.
trip wraps up 2, maybe 3 hours later. You guys show up on a launch pad that you haven't seen before. You do recognize the building. The building belongs to the Sons of Ether. She parks the ship, kind of hands off the keys, as it were, to the maintenance guys, and she kind of leads the party into the chantry. The walls are high. There are all kinds of neat gadgets on shelves that line the hallways. There is tons of rooms, but the common areas are enormous. There are 4 people who are hanging out in the common area, and one of them runs up to Professor Edge and gives her a hug, and Professor Edge hugs back.
Is this a male or a female?
Sorry, go ahead.
The person who hugs the professor, is that a male or a female?
Female.
Okay, as soon as they disengage, I'm going to walk over, hug her. Hey, it's so good to see you again.
She blinks, kind of pat. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Lost it, Beck. You've forgotten me already.
I'm afraid
okay.
I have. And
Okay.
she says, "Is there somebody who you're here to see?" And one of the other people who are standing around basically says, "Oh, they're here for the specialist." Oh, oh, oh. I know just the room to take you to. And she takes Auron by the hand and kind of escorts him back into the hallways. And there is a red door with a gold doorknob. She doesn't touch the door just opens. And inside is enormous. It is basically a spa. And there are overstuffed couches, and there is a round bed that has lots of like cushy, fluffy blankets, and there is a couple of specialty chairs and a chandelier and a bar and all of those things. She offers, there is a bartender in the room. Apparently this was set up beforehand. And she knocks on the bar top twice. And 2 peppermint schnapps glasses appear on the bar top. She hands one of them to Auron.
Auron takes it, just kind of looks around like, well, I wasn't expecting the presidential suite.
Well, you're kind of seeing the president of the Akashics. So it is partly for you, but it is also partly for him. He will be with you shortly. She kind of clinks her glass against his, downs the glass, puts it on the bar top. And I'll be out in the common area when you are ready. I'm Alyssa.
He'll nod at her. Can you also send in the professor, because I was having her here with me for the session.
Absolutely. Would you like the rest of the party to join you as well?
Whoever actually feels like coming. If some of them would like to stay out there, that's fine.
I understand. Make yourself comfortable. And she kind of like gives him a little wave and exits the room. There are all kinds of cool specimens in jars and most of them are mutants of some kind, like 2-headed chickens and 4-legged, 4 hind legs, frogs and miscellaneous animals that had too many or not enough aspects of their physical nature.
I am reading patterns.
Okay.
Did that come through?
Alyssa, you said you were reading what?
Patterns.
Patterns. Most of it is prime and matter. So it was definitely something else before it was what it is now. So a lot of the stuff has been upcycled, as it were, into new devices. The mutants seem to come by it honestly. They're sitting in formaldehyde, but they were once they were once live creatures.
No, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought these specimens were live, so
No,
I
they are
can't
not.
look at anything that's matter. So my mistake.
No worries. Alyssa comes into the common area and goes over to the Gerald Cabal and says, Auron is making himself comfortable. He has requested that you guys join him for moral support. I will be hanging out here if you guys need anything.
I stand without a moment's hesitation.
Same.
She is happy to take anybody else back to the presidential suite.
No, I'm going.
And Raena is coming, and Professor Edge also follows, and everyone is pooling into the presidential suite. Auron is sitting at the bar and kind of sipping away at a drink.
You okay, man?
Best as I can for right now. And he kind of just like does a slow blink to himself.
No, you've got this. You're going to be through it in no time, and you're going to feel silly that you're worried about it, because you are strong enough to handle this.
Well, the only thing that really worries about me is that something gets triggered, and because I know just enough psychology to understand that certain things can trigger things when brought to the forefront.
Alyssa eventually comes back, and with her is an Asian man who has orange robes on, bald head, and carrying a mandala, of course, mandala beads of some sort. And
He gets a slight bow from me.
Secret Asian man. So he kind of bows to the party and to the cabal, and Alyssa excuses herself from the room. His mouth does not move, but he does. Everyone hears his voice. It is a deep timbre and less uhs and ums from the master, but he kind of introduces himself as Li Wang.
Out loud, I say, "Pleasure to meet you." Do we speak out loud to be part of this conversation?
If you would like the others to hear you, yes.
Okay. Wasn't sure the etiquette with mind magic and telepathy.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I have sworn a oath of silence, so I communicate solely through mind magic. He walks over to Auron, kind of looks him over. His eyes kind of light up and says, "Whenever you are ready."
Auron will look him directly in the eyes. Lead the way.
He escorts you over to the bed and encourages you to relax in whatever position is most comfortable for him. He kind of like leads you through a meditation, which, you know, you've been kind of like fooling around with meditations on YouTube and kind of studying the format that many Buddhist religions kind of use to meditate. So getting into that hypnotic state is not hard for you. Go ahead and roll stamina plus meditation to see if you can actually hold your meditation long enough for him to do the thing.
Okay, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty 6. Nice. Okay, so what he does is you see yourself in this snowy field. And in that snowy field, the bright robes of the Li Wang, he glows against the white, and he says, "This is the most comfortable spot in your mind I could find.
Auron
The
just
things I have,
blanks.
the things I have discovered might be upsetting, but I would rather you see what happened as opposed to me telling you. I will be here when you wake up." And he kind of takes a step back, and a vision kind of like shows up in front of you. Your parents? Question mark. You remember them being your parents in the few times that you saw them. They are ushering you as an adult into a van, and the van takes you to Montreal, and in Montreal you built a new life. You remember your ex, you remember your job, but you're finding that you don't remember much before that. And you're kind of wondering why? The orange-robed man disappears and kind of leaves you in this position where you are boarding a bus.
From inspection of the bus, what is the bus? Does it say the bus is going?
The bus does not have a location on it, but it does have a military school like spray painted into the side, and it's a black van.
Okay.
And it stirs an emotion in you that remembers being shipped off to military school. But you don't remember being an adult when that happened.
He gets kind of a confused look in his eyes. I was a kid when that happened.
You hear a voice. He is nowhere near you. but Li Wong continues to say, you can wake up whenever you are ready. Feel free to wiggle your fingers and toes.
Is there anything else I need to see?
If you must.
It may cause some pain, but I need to.
There. All right, here we go. The bus takes you to a cathedral. And in the cathedral, there are tall walls. Sorry, I'm distracted. Tall walls, huge windows, colored windows that are stained glass. There is no altar. Instead, there is a chair. And in that chair, you wake up and you look down and you don't have a body.
Auron kind of just looks around.
It kind of stops just below the ribcage. You see bolts, and you see staples, and you see new tubing, and you see organs on the side table in jars. The woman that would be your mother looks excited and says, "Hello, darling. How are you feeling?"
Kind of gets a kind of a pained look in his eyes. What's going on?
It's your birthday. Welcome to the world.
But I remember being a kid. Like, this was years ago. How am I? I'm confused.
We wanted to protect you. Because you are special. You are a magical place that can
Cause you are special, special.
Okay, sorry about that. She kind of like feels your face, and you are aware that she kind of like glides over a couple of staples that are apparently in your skin. She kind of runs a hand through your short hair and says, "You are alive."
His eyes go back to confusion, like, but I have been. What do you mean I'm what?
You are a blessing, and we wanted to give you a childhood that we have no idea how to facilitate something like that. We don't know how to parent. So we implanted memories of being kidnapped, implanted memories of being experimented on, implanted memories of being shipped off to military school. But none of that actually happened.
He kind of swallows hard. But why?
So that you would be a full person.
How was I not already?
To have amnesia to that degree is catastrophic to a new mind once it has been raised from the dead.
Who was I?
I made you from scratch. I grew each part of you separately, and I put you together.
He kind of...
There is a gyroscope in your chest that the more you move and the more you feel, the more powerful and more quintessence you can produce.
He kind of lowers his eyes to the floor.
Does this make you sad?
No, but more confused. Like, why was I created in the first place?
We wanted both a sun and a node. So we made the perfect being.
There's no such thing as perfect, though. There's always a flaw.
Not as far as we're concerned. She takes a step back and disappears in a wisp of color. You look down at yourself and you see part of your chest, you see one arm, but there's nothing else.
What do I see in the room?
There are organs that are in jars. There are limbs that are in like aquariums. But they have not been attached yet.
He just kind of stares, wondering what's going to happen.
The voice returns of Li Wang and encourages you to wake up.
And he will, at least in this vision, he'll close his eyes.
You close your eyes, and if you open them again, you find yourself in the presidential suite with your cabal standing around you. You have your body. It is almost jarring, as you had almost become accustomed to not having legs, to not having an arm, to not having a stomach.
He just sits there and looks at everybody and just starts rapidly blinking, kind of shaking his head like there's wasn't much there, but all my and he'll look at Max. All my memories as a kid and the person I was with were all manufactured.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. But here's the thing. Those, just because they're manufactured doesn't mean they're not real. They shaped you, and it doesn't matter whether the trauma came from an outside source or was made by an outside source or actually happened. It's still trauma. It still means the same thing to you.
Auron just kind of sits there slowly blinking, like staring staring blankly, kind of like phasing in and out, mind phasing in and out of existence. Well, since I'm my own person, I guess I gotta start from scratch. With the knowledge I have.
Are you sure you're starting from scratch, or is this just a stepping stone in your understanding of yourself?
He kind of cracks his neck a little bit. Honestly, I haven't seen my and he does air quotes, parents since I got to Montreal. I'm honestly thinking, outside of legalities, when it comes out in the real world, I'll continue to be known as Auron Pritchard for legal standards because I don't feel like going through red tape.
Makes sense.
But I feel since I have now become what I am, a mage, in this world, I feel I should have a different name.
What name would you like to have?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But you guys do not have to call me by whatever name I choose. You can continue to call me Auron. But I feel that this is, in a sense, like you said, a stepping stone. And basically devote to the work we're doing here.
Well, since you're made up of different parts.
Well, come to find out, with that, I'm not made up of different people. I was built from scratch. Even though she said that I was a perfect being, there's no such thing as perfect. You could strive for it, but there is no perfect. There is always a flaw. Mine is probably just my trauma from the memories they created.
It seems really weird that they would create those specific memories.
I agree. But they are, air quotes again, mine. Yeah, I'm seeing all those in the chats. No.
So the looking at you magically, you're made up of different parts, but you said that you're not, you're built from scratch. How does this reconcile?
The way she, basically from how I understood it, even in my own confusion, is that possibly she created each part individually.
Oh, okay, so you're made up of parts, but they're lab grown and they're not from the dead.
Pretty much.
Well, at least you know that you're not getting other people's memories.
Yeah, that was my worry, because in the little bit I have read into psychology, the biggest worry I had with if there was multiple people of, I was worried about DID
Mm-hmm.
and it coming into play.
Well, you do know that you are one complete individual now. But since you are built out of different parts, I mean, they're lab grown, but they're still different parts. I mean, you're kind of like a chimera.
And he kind of thinks to himself, and I'm going to ask this question of Sako. Would Auron know anything of mythology involving chimeras?
You're muted.
What is his esoterica score?
It is a 1.
Then you would at least know what a chimera is.
And he'll stop and think, and then look back to Max. But a chimera is a amalgamation of different creatures, though.
Well, you're redefining yourself. You could also redefine what that means.
True.
It couldn't, in your case, it's, you know, not just lab grown parts, but crafted memories, magic that most people don't even know is possible. You're made up of a lot of different things.
Yeah, and apparently there's a gyroscope in my chest that scan didn't see.
Neat.
But he starts he goes into a little bit of thought, and he pulls out his phone and does a direct text to Panda.
Okay.
How much would it be, and this is the text he's sending, how much would it be to see if someone actually exists?
Fuck, I'll do that for free.
All right. And then the dots stay on the screen on her end. I would like to look into, because I just found out some information about myself. Would you be able to look into the name Victoria Salin?
Give me a half an hour.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
And Li Wong kind of looks at you and says, "This might be too forward, but what I just did took an enormous amount of energy. Can I tap into you?"
He'll put his phone down, turn his head to him. Since you're doing this to help me figure out what's going on, yes, you can.
If you are still sitting on the bed, he kind of sits in a chair across from you. And he crosses his legs and puts his hands on his knees.
And Auron would reach down and lay his palm on his leg.
He kind of jumps at first, but he becomes accustomed to it. And he begins to start drinking the quintessence that he spent.
Okay, would there be a roll that I can make to where I can control the speed of the stream of him drawing?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
You just clench a little.
So he kind of pulls away and says, and thanks you. And says, "This must be very difficult for you."
He'll reply back telepathically. He doesn't say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but this is more trying to satiate my confusion. I wanted to know basically all the details.
Okay. He says, "You might have been engineered, but you are still a human. You are still a human boy."
But what about the stuff like the gyro and the chip in the back of my head? That's not human.
No, but they facilitate your existence.
He kind of closes his eyes and nods.
Sorry, there's like stuff going on around my house. So, the professor kind of comes over and puts a hand on your shoulder. Some of those memories are real, but most of them are not.
He'll just lower his head and nod.
What do you remember after the bus?
In there, or in my own mind, it went from that to going to the bus went to Montreal, which is weird because all I've ever known is I'm from Germany. And then it flash forward, and I was basically on a rack and still being assembled.
Well, you're still real to us.
Yeah, man, nothing has changed. Just your context.
Raena will put a hand on Auron's shoulder and say, "Cheer up, Pinocchio. You've got a family. You're a real boy."
Or just kind of cocks his head to the side like, my nose isn't growing.
Well, I don't know if any of these things have been lies, so I wouldn't be able to tell.
Which, out of character, I saw a thing online the other day about a paradox with Pinocchio. But he will stand up. Well, go to stand up from the bed, and you'll hear like a normal joint crack because he's been sitting in this position for a while.
Crackle, crackle.
Well, if you're wondering why I pulled my phone out, I texted Panda, and I wanted to see if there actually is existence of my ex. Because since looking at this, a lot of the memories were manufactured, I want to know if she was real also. And maybe I can figure something out if she is.
Your phone lights up.
He'll unlock it.
The screen is a picture of your ex. It is a message from Panda.
Auron will kind of look back and forth between the group and his phone. Do you have, like, details about her?
College student. Married, 1.5 children, lives in Ontario.
Kind of. he kind of just, like, kind of does like a half smile. And then just text back, well, at least she's happy. And then locks his phone.
Professor Edge takes out her phone, takes a picture of Auron in the presidential suite, and Portia gets a text message from Professor Edge with that picture and says, "We couldn't find you before we left, but we're in Horizon, and Auron just found out about his origins." Portia?
Yes, I'm here.
You received a text message.
Oh, thank God we finally have some information. What's it say?
The text message is a picture of Auron in a presidential suite, all dressed in the nines, looking awesome. He has a tired look in his eye, but he's smiling. And Raena has a hand on his shoulder, and Max is standing on the other side. John is there too in the background. And Gladys basically says that we couldn't find you before we left, but we can bring something back? Question mark.
Dinner? Very not picky. Everybody's okay?
Everybody is okay.
Excellent. Kids are doing well. Bunnies, babes, tots, little ones.
Little ones are doing well.
Yes. Though they have managed to trick me a couple times with hide and seek. Finding bunnies is quite difficult. Anyway, Zira's back, and if you can bring dinner, yay. If not, whatever. I can whip up a sandwich. Will you be back soon?
By the end of the day.
All right. I guess I could make you guys dinner.
No, we'll bring dinner. It's cool.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've just been running around a lot more than I'm used to. Not that I'm not a fit person, but this is a lot. Anyway, take care, drive safe, fly safe.
See you soon.
Bye.
Portia's doing well, Gladys says to the Cabal. She's still at the refuge.
Have they driven her nuts yet?
Just about.
Expected. Well, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go find curry.
And Gladys nods. Lee Wong nods. Alyssa comes back in the room and doesn't dare ask how the session went, but instead says, there are snacks and drinks in the common area, or we can go out. I'm sure you're hungry.
Auron just kind of nods and said, like, yeah, I'm gonna go find curry.
Perfect. Let's do it. And Alyssa kind of slips her arm into his and kind of walks with him out of the chantry and into the street.
Hey, is there a Tim Hortons around here?
I'm sorry?
Is there a Tim Hortons around here?
There is not.
Dunkin' Donuts? Yeah.
There is no Tim Hortons.
Well, that sucks.
There are apparently coffee shops with languages that you've never seen before on the sign, but it's coffee.
He wants the Timbits.
Yeah.
I gotta find some actual food.
One thing we found out about Horizon is it's technically not in Canada anymore. It's everywhere and nowhere. So.
Right, I knew that.
But Auron will make his way to the stand where he can get his nuclear level curry.
You make a beeline. She follows you. And you get your curry. On that note, I will wrap game. And everybody gets a point of experience, Portia included. Woohoo! For coming and taking care of bunnies for like 2 weeks.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. Next time we see her, her hair's like everywhere. There's like leaves and grass in it.
Oh, things have been torn. There's some bunny claw marks. Stuff is just, there's fur everywhere.
There's fur everywhere.
She doesn't look like she's showered in a couple days.
Very out of breath.
When we ask her how she's been, she's like, first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bunny daycare.
Bunny daycare. So goods, bads, and uglies. Let's start with Raena because she is having baby trouble at the moment. Or not. Max. Let's start with Max.
All right, I'll make it quick. It was a good, interesting game, and I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer for the experience. This was an Auron episode,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep. So, Auron.
Oh, very interesting. Wonder where this is gonna go now. But before I give my ugly, I was going to ask you. I was wanting to. This is the first merit I pick up in a while. I want to, because of his obsession with curry.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to pick up the merit of cast iron stomach.
Here.
Basically,
Yes.
I give it 4 potholders.
Basically, cast iron stomach is anytime I have to make a check for food, I get a -2 on the difficulty for no matter what it is. It could be something gross, whatever, but I could still get the effects of it if I fail.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And
The only thing I ask is that you take a flaw to compensate.
oh, I'm actually taking this to compensate for the amount of flaws I have. Because remember, there was a few that you let me take as long as I balanced it out later.
Oh, okay.
Because I had the enhanced intelligence, enhanced perception, and then I had PTSD. And I would need to take 2 more to completely even it.
Yeah.
2 more points.
All right. Raena says, the good is that we learned a lot about Auron today, and I love that. Dude's an enigma, and a closer look into that is always interesting. Bad? Personal things, because Bailey might have a ear infection, and she's doing mom things. I'm going to assume Auron gets the ugly. Auron for being courageous enough to look into himself. Mm-hmm.
And then my ugly was going to Max, because he was the... Saying voice of reason would be the wrong way of putting it. He had more the calming sect of things.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Bedside manner.
Bedside manner, yeah.
Would you like to make a roll for that?
Actually,
You can take bedside manner as a empathy specialization.
I was going to say, I built my character sheet around that's part of Max's character.
Yeah.
High empathy and what is it? Oh, and the social skills are all balanced.
Yeah. John.
Well, as always, it was a good game, and like everyone else has said, it was pretty interesting finding out a little bit more about Auron. Can't think of anything really bad. You know, those things just don't seem to happen in this game. And yeah, I'm gonna have to give my ugly to Auron too, because these parts of himself. That was a pun.
But I'm ching. And Portia.
What I heard was amazing. Lauren's backstory is kind of fascinating. I love how interesting and like, I don't know, I'm appreciative of it. It's awesome. I love the chat. That was fun. And thanks for being understanding and flexible with my schedule. So I appreciate that as well. You guys are really awesome. And I just love getting the opportunity to play with y'all. It's fun. I guess I was debating. I was either going to give it to Raena because she had good chat and had to deal with mom stuff. And like sometimes you just need extra boost. And then but Auron just had a really good episode. I don't know. Yeah, fudge nothings.
So the experience should go to someone who.
All right, Auron.
Yeah. So Auron gets all the uglies. Max gets an ugly.
So what we can say is that for Auron, this whole thing was quite the experience.
But I'm ching. Oh.
And surprisingly, didn't get ugly.
Oh.
Until that pun, that's when it got ugly.
Yeah. Until
my job here is done.
So, if you liked this episode at any point, I encourage you to hit the like button. And if you would like to see more episodes like this one, I encourage you to hit subscribe and maybe even ring that bell on the off chance that YouTube actually notifies you when something goes up. And we will catch you guys on the flip side.